demoed the same thing that we did with the sheep. So sending him around both directions, getting him to go to balance. Hey. Responding to pressure and release, responding to commands, how to get those snappy, how to keep him responding, what to do if he doesn't respond, where to put your pressure, and then the main difference on cattle, we're going to work these calves. They've been broke, they do work, but they're not as broke as my big stock, so they don't come off the fences easily. You'll find that with cattle that are not broke to dogs, is they tend to run the fence line instead of like sheep that would bunch up and try to get away from the dog. They tend to remain on the fence. Demonstrate the same thing that we did on sheep, which is send in both directions, balancing the stock, trying to bring the stock to me, which is a little bit harder with cattle because they don't flock together like sheep do, and they also don't want to be close to the person. The reason they're over here in this corner is because my holding pins are behind them, so their friends are over there. They like to be in this corner, so I'll probably work him from either that corner or that corner to try to get him to bring the cattle out of where they want to be towards me where they won't want to be. It's the same thing with sheep. He doesn't need to bite if it's not necessary. If he's behind the cattle and he can't get them off the fence, he may need to apply some pressure with a bite. And a bite is a single bite and a back off. He should hold his ground exactly where he is when he bites and then assess the situation and cover from there. A bite should not be bite, 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 because then he's not looking to do anything in particular with the cattle. He's just looking to get them away from him, or he's chasing. And this is true, that's true for all dogs. When they're on the heel side, they're trying to make way around the fence to get around. They need to bite and then make their way through when that hole is made. And I'll try to demo a little bit just by using myself so that you can see. If I get behind this cow and she can see me on this side of her eye, she's going to stay on the fence side. And then if I make my way directly behind her to make a hole for me to come through, right? So there's a hole right there. If I was a dog, I could slip through there. A lot of dogs get behind on the heel side like that. They have a hole and they bite a heel instead of going on through. So we're looking for him to not do that. In that case, I would stop him and then redirect him with a flank command, which would be a come by or away. So coming through to where I can get to this outside eye, they'll come off the fence, right? And then I need to hold pressure here to get them to go forward on this inside eye. So as soon as I got these turned, these heads turned, place. Might have to go back to this one. They don't flock like sheep. So there's enough room along that fence there for a dog to squeak on through. So if I was to send him, he should go on through. In the case where you've got a head looking at the fence like that, he needs to be along the fence, holding pressure, continuing forward. Get him turned. Okay? So using a dog is the same as it would be if you were moving the cattle yourself. So think about that. Where are you going to put the dog to get things to be successful? And then if he's not in the right position, your cattle are going to tell you that. Same thing as with the sheep. If he's not in the right position to bring them, they're not going to be looking in the right direction. One of the big things about sending the dog to the head side is they just need to hold pressure. They need to give the cattle enough space to make a decision, see the dog, and turn. So the dog comes in flat, meaning they come in directly at the cow like this. That's going to cause a conflict. It's going to get the dog run over. It's probably going to get the cattle not respecting the dog. So the dog needs to come in nice and wide. Give the cattle time to see them. See, she's looking at me. She sees me. And I'm giving her 30 feet or so to make her decision about leaving. to the head side, you want them to be nice and wide. Give the cattle time to see them and turn. And then if the cattle see the dog, but they don't immediately turn and go, the dog just needs to continue to hold that line, keep moving in forward on the same path. And then of course, in an ideal world, would be ready to go ahead and bite that cattle on the nose if they don't turn and go. When the dog's putting pressure on them, they should move. When the cows are going the direction the dog wants, the dog should back off a little bit, give them some space. If you're obviously driving towards a gate or some kind of chore that you've got going on, the dog can't relieve all the pressure, but they don't need to be constantly harassing your cows. Same thing with your sheep or goats. Pressure off, the release of pressure is the reward, and it's the same thing for the dog. When I'm not having to put pressure on my dog, he's being told that he's doing the right thing. So always remember to release pressure on your dog, have your dog release pressure on your livestock.